Welcome to the Straight Red Card. It is the first live show we've done here. And, we were just on Jake's show. So we're like, let's just do it again. I mean, what's the purpose? I think mostly, Brett, we're always worried about saying something really dumb and not have the opportunity to edit it out of the show. By the way, can you see chat? Because I can't see chat. I don't know if people are going to chat or not.
I can see the comments.
Okay, I can't. So feel free to read those if anything interesting comes up. But we are going to answer some of your other questions on this show.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's one that's funny. What the fuck? This is super fancy for the Straight Red Card.
Super fancy.
Super fancy.
I'm in a basement. Brett's in some hole in the wall office space. So yeah, it's not. It's
we're live, so that's
we are live.
Fancy.
That is pretty fancy, and I've already the only two people that have been, I guess, had the nutsack enough to have me on live so far was Sam. He's like, yeah, let's just do it. I'm like, okay. And Tack had me on live. I think Pete only had me on the recording so far. So those were recordings that came out later. So if I said something really atrocious, he could edit it out.
I've only been live once.
And he didn't have to edit anything out. So that didn't happen. By the way, I did mention on Sam's show, somebody got me on this on Facebook. They're like, tell the Danny Zettler story. Okay. So back in the old ages when we had this show on Big Soccer, we also used to have a cartoon series as well with a dog in it. And in this particular series, I believe they were all at a hotel and prior to some sort of friendly game. And outside of the Klinsman running into Hope Solo part, which is probably pretty questionable material at this point, because I think he was talking about helping her to work on the box in the box. So that probably was inappropriate now. But yeah, in the scene, in one of the last scenes, Danny Zettler stumbles into the hotel after a ballroom fight and he pukes all over everywhere. And then Danny Zettler messaged me and he said he's going to find out where I live and he was going to kick my ass. He never did, and I'm really appreciative of that. Although I did look at his stats the other day, and he's only 5'10", and I'm 5'11". And, I did some wrestling in my day in high school, so I think he'd have a hard time kicking my ass. And I also boxed, so he's got that against him. So I am a tough guy. All right? Not really.
Put you in a Shark Tank.
Yeah.
A little cage underwater.
Yeah, and I'll shit my pants immediately. How about you? The smallest snake around, and I will run and scream and run away quickly. So, not the bravest guy, and I hate planes and elevators. So there's that too.
That's why you barely leave your house.
I try to not leave my house as much as possible now. I'm old, and I like the security of these confines, and I have a dog, and that's enough company for me. I just want to thank anybody who's gotten on. I have no idea how many people are watching, and we just wanted to do a test run. That's why we didn't give it much leeway or much time for you guys to show up. So
we currently have 22 people on.
Apologize for that. But one of the questions we are going to take on in this show is the top 3 coaches to replace Gregg. Now, the whole replace Gregg thing isn't going to happen unless we don't qualify for the World Cup. Then we will release Gregg. He will get replaced. And so I don't even want to pretend that's the scenario though, Brett, because that sounds really negative.
Yeah.
So
let's not talk about that.
So let's say we qualify for the World Cup. We get out of our group and lose the first game of the next the next round. Okay, so Gregg's probably going to get replaced at that point, especially if he doesn't get out of the group. But
we talked about with Bill, with Bill Archer, and he basically mentioned how his job is to qualify. It's the whole purpose of his job, And after that, he's already leading up to another job in MLS after this cycle's over, more or less.
Well, and somebody else explained in detail why that's the case as well. And Bill did a good job of kind of laying out the groundwork and saying, listen, this is just a temporary thing for Gregg probably, but his only job, because we didn't qualify last time, is to just qualify. Mm-hmm. And then everything else, as you said, is icing on the cake. So there's that to consider as well. But if we had to replace Gregg, I guess we'll take this one at a time. I think everybody's number one choice is pretty much the same, Brett. Isn't it Jesse Marsh? Isn't it just Jesse Marsh?
I would imagine it's probably everybody's number one.
Didn't he make some nefarious tweet, anti-Berhalter tweet as well this week? I thought he did. I thought he liked an anti-Berhalter tweet. And maybe somebody else can post it up on the side and let us know. But that's what I thought I read somewhere. But that doesn't really matter.
I frequent the Twitter sphere, and I don't recall seeing anything like that. But that's not to say I didn't delve into the darkest corners of Twitter.
Well, who wants to do that? It's full of piles of shit. So, yeah, Jesse Marsh, I think, is everybody's number one choice. I mean, you can come up with, dream wish people that are there. There's no way they're going to be our manager on our team. People say Arsene Wenger. He's like 90. He's not going to coach the United States men's national team at this point. What are you kidding? And he doesn't know the player pool at all. I mean, it'd be like starting from scratch for him. So Jesse Marsh knows the player pool. The only problem with Jesse Marsh, as I see it, is he tends to be a little formulaic as well. He's a high press guy, high block, high press guy. And we've seen how that doesn't always work very well. I mean, that is the Leipzig, system, which he played, and they didn't like that he played, so they hired someone who doesn't play it after they fired him or he resigned from Leipzig. So, and the guy they had before him wasn't a real Leipzig system guy either. And Marsh got there and said, well, I'm doing what I told you I was going to do. I was going to do Red Bull football. And now you're telling me I need to do something different because we're not winning. And they, I thought it was over too soon, frankly, but he's free. He's free.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like Colin kind of agrees with you there a little bit, Marsh and his downfall or his pitfalls. Colin says, Jesse Marsh is awful. What's with these soulless high press guys? Let's play.
I don't think a high press is something you play every game. I just think that's that becomes okay. When I played high school soccer, we would play a high press against teams we knew couldn't get the ball out of their own end. But when we played Ballard from Louisville, we knew it was going to be more. We got to play a medium block, and then we kind of played a low block, and we countered because they were better at possession and they had all the ball. And so listen, there are different ways to play different teams, obviously, but I think Jesse Marsh is number one. And then I'll let you do your number two, Brett.
Well, I mean, this would be more hope, I guess, especially if we're talking about immediate. But we've always talked about, which would never happen, but Bob Bradley coming back.
Yeah, and there's more reasons than one for that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Bob Bradley has stated in private and almost in public, but definitely in private that we know of, and this is a very reliable source, that he felt absolutely betrayed by U.S. Soccer when he was let go. And he didn't feel like it was his time to go yet, and he thought he had a lot more to give. But they gave him no heads up. Like, I think he said he found out about it online or somehow else before he even got a call from U.S. Soccer to say he was replaced. Like, it had already come out that we had signed JK. So, and at a party in Chicago at one point, I mean, he was pretty vociferous in saying and insistent in saying he would never play for those he would never manage for those U.S. Soccer bastards again. Now, I don't know if he used the word bastards. I can't remember the exact word that he
A little
used.
more explicit there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was not holding back. He said it out loud, and hundreds of people heard him say it. So something would happen. Now the leadership has changed since then. So, but Bob Bradley is not really in the in clique. I mean, he's not in the U.S. soccer clique. He's just not. There's a group, and you can tell. Anybody that knows the board at U.S. Soccer, it's a clique. It's a clique of people who all know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Bob's not really in that group. Neither is Arena. And I did have Bob on my list, but I marked him off because of all those facts, being that there's just no way he'll do it. He might do it as a U.S. Soccer, patriot or whatever, somebody who wants us to succeed. But he's at Toronto now, and I just don't. Toronto, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I was thinking of BA over at New England for whatever reason. Walter Roman says Zidane is available.
Who?
Zidane.
Zidane. No, I mean it's fine, but number one, the guy has wherever he's moved always refused to learn any language. Not that that's a complete barrier, but it is a blockade.
French?
When you're trying to. Yeah, he's French.
No, I said even French.
No, he knows French. He knows French.
He goes out there and just hand signals the entire time.
Yeah. But that is a little bit of a barrier in communication, especially when you have short spurts of time with players. They got to really learn to know what you want from them immediately and as fast as possible.
People are calling that out already, yeah.
Who?
Other people are saying, because the chat's about 30 seconds behind us right now.
Okay.
But yeah, people are already jumping on saying he can't speak English.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, just to be realistic, that's been definitely one, that's like a must-have if you become the United States men's national team, because U.S. Soccer wants that coach to be able to represent them in press conferences and be able to speak the language clearly so they're not misunderstood when they respond to things. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's the end-all be-all. I think it doesn't need to be perfect English or anything like that, but you definitely have to know some basics, because you can get a lot of trouble in the press if you're misquoted or someone you don't get your sentence right. People will twist that shit. And so they want to avoid that, number one. And I don't know what the hell Zinedine Zidane knows about American soccer. Honestly, absolutely zero. So no on him.
I bet you he's an avid MLS fan. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's a Chicago fan.
Yeah. And why is that? Because your dude from Switzerland just showed up?
No, bullshit.
Are you excited about that guy?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I'm excited. This is every year for me, unfortunately. I'm always excited at the very beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden, hopefully we avoid that stage.
Well, this guy's a good player, man. I mean, sure. He's not a.
No, there's a lot of positives coming out of Chicago right now, and I would love to see them do well again for change. We've already had a decade and some, maybe a baker's dozen years of absolute shit. I would just like to get back to it.
Well, I think this is a good start. He's going to probably play winger or even sort of a second striker for you guys. He's fast. He didn't play a lot for Liverpool, but when he did, he wasn't absolutely horrible. It's an odd decision for him to make at this time in his career, but I mean, it's not like he's old yet, really old. But I'm glad he's coming, and I think it's going to be a boost to you guys. Whereas I'm looking at my Galaxy, and they're doing squad douche. So I don't know what's going on there, except signing guys. I'm like,
just signed in the Brazilian guy. What's his face?
If there was a guy named what's his face on LA Galaxy, I wouldn't be surprised.
Game and Tam, that's who it is. Game and Tam. Twins. They're twins from Argentina. Game and Tam.
Well, it's probably a young player from Argentina or Brazil, if whatever it is, but a lot of those guys are not working out. You're noticing a lot of those guys going back to Argentina and Brazil after 1 year. They're 2019. They came, they didn't conquer, they're going back. to Brazil, Argentina. So my second pick was Pellegrino Matarazzo. And I know Stuttgart are struggling right now. I get it. But he's a guy who would know the American pool very well. I've listened to interviews with him. And he is, unlike Marsh and unlike Gregg, he's not a dogmatist. He is willing to bend. He is willing to play different formations. He is willing to play the kind of game the opponents are going to have the most difficulty with.
Yeah.
He's flexible. He's not an ideologue. So, I think that would be my second pick.
A number of the chat have already mentioned his name. He was my number 3. And there's no specific order here outside of Marsh being first, just simply because that seems to be working right, and it's right in his wheelhouse there. Because what's he doing right now?
Yeah, twiddling his thumbs. So not much. I was going to say something worse that he was twiddling, but
see, there's a David Wagner.
Mm-hmm. So that's
reference up there.
It's my number 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Was he your number 3?
No, I'm reading the chat here. Pellegrino was my number 3.
Okay.
I had Bob as my number 2.
Well, being that Bob's, that's just not going to happen. I think David Wagner is somebody to consider, although people are going to say, oh, well, his time at Schalke was garbage. And since he went to Young Boys, they're no longer, the outright first place team in Switzerland anymore. Okay. I'll give you that. But let's remember, he took a team into the Premier League and kept them up. A team that was garbage at the time. And no one expected that to happen. So he's another guy who can adapt. He doesn't use the same formation every game. Well, I don't want to say he's inconsistent. He uses the formation that's necessary, but he doesn't make wholesale changes or anything like that. So it's another guy to consider. And I think the guy also mentioned foreign coaches. I
couldn't bother.
No, it's just I don't think that's going to happen. I think there are certain countries out there who are very focused on having foreign managers because they just don't have a pool. Whereas it's not like we don't have any pool at all. I think Jesse Marsh, Pellegrino Matarazzo, and David Wagner are all 3 reliable, realistic people that I think you could consider that would know the player pool and could adjust quickly and speak really good English. Although David Wagner still calls himself David Wagner and not David Wagner. You'd have to get used to that. Tactical is on the box. He's on the box, folks. Before we replace our coach, we need to replace the ones that are in charge of the federation. Yeah, but there's no realistic way of doing that.
And it wasn't the limits of this exercise. This exercise came from a chat member who asked about that. So
yeah,
no, I wholeheartedly agree. Getting a new coach is sort of just placing a new Band-Aid over top of the wound that we have. There needs to be changes from the ground up. Absolutely.
Listen, I mean, he means USSF, right? When he says
absolutely,
that.
yes.
So, I mean, the way the system works right now, and it's always been like this. It's always been like this, and you know this, Filippo, so I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But there's no real way of changing this overnight. Someone, and Bruce Arenas mentioned this, someone on the outside needs to get in there, and that's the only way to change it. Because right now, it's a clique. All those people know each other.
Wasn't Klinsmann supposed to be like our technical director? Wasn't that the whole point after he left?
So the funny thing about Klinsmann was he was never in the clique either. Yeah. Which I guess is why they let it was.
He wanted to ship everybody. He wanted to ship everybody out of MLS. He's like, "Hey, go play in Europe." And MLS is going, "Whoa."
Yeah,
not everybody, please.
And Garber's like, "I want to fist fight you," which I would have watched that if that were on pay-per-view, because I'm pretty sure Klinsmann would have kicked his ass. I'm pretty sure. So yeah. That's not. You're right. That would be where it needs to start. But it's not like a democracy, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's just not going to happen. The only way that's going to happen is we keep applying the pressure and putting on the pressure. Mm-hmm. It's the only way it's going to happen. And so,
go ahead. I've got it pulled up here. Christian Burke for $5 super chat said, "Loving live streams. You guys planning on doing more of these?"
Yeah, and we plan on doing them and giving you a lot more time so you can come.
To come quickly get on.
I mean, we literally jumped off Jake's show, and I said to Brett, "Let's just do this next one live too. Screw it." So it saves me a lot of time and work. A lot of people don't realize, even though those are stupid slides, how long it takes to put a 30-minute slideshow together every night. It sucks. Like, that's the worst part of this thing. I mean, sometimes it's enjoyable. It depends on how stoned I am, right? But if I'm tired and I just got done with work, and then I'm just like, oh God, I got to get through this slide. Okay, so yeah, I would guess we're going to do more of these now that I've done some and I'm comfortable with it, and I don't think I'm going to say anything.
I don't think we've ever had a problem with talking. I think talking comes natural to both of us. I think just jumping on and doing our first live stream and getting all the little bugs out and figuring out how to run everything, I think that's a big thing.
The widgets and all that, yeah. And this will get better, folks. We're going to have our intro video and all that jazz, so we can curse immediately after the intro's over.
No need waiting 30 seconds. Although the countdown was 30 seconds, so we were fucking fine regardless.
Jeffrey Perpich says, I hope I said your last name right, Jeffrey. It's not only a click, the soccer media insulates it from criticism. Oh, kind of, Jeffrey. So, I mean,
do you know what he's referring to right now?
Yes, he's saying the mainstream soccer media insulates it U.S. soccer from criticism, and he's right, but it's not their fault. You have to understand, and we were talking about Jake on a show about this too, is that he has an access card, so he's at every one of those pressers, right? But they've never allowed him to ask a question. And I think Meg's been allowed to ask 2 questions in over 15 different pressers. So even if you do get access, you get the access to listen live. Well, I don't need that. I'll just watch it on YouTube when it comes out. But I don't think so. I don't think it's the soccer media. I think the soccer media is a little afraid. There are guys that aren't afraid, like Herc Gomez, who says whatever he wants. But guess what? He has no access. He has no press pass. Jimmy Conrad. He's honest. He didn't have a press pass. You're never going to see him at one of those pressers. So there are people who get kicked out. That's just how it goes. And until they become incredibly unafraid, or Gregg becomes incredibly honest and less passive aggressive, and U.S. soccer leaves that insecurity that's deep down in the sack of their balls, when they leave those things behind, we can actually have real pressers and real conversations with people who actually will answer the questions, like De La Torre did when they asked him, how did you feel about your first call-up? He's like, I deserve to be here like 8 games ago, dude. He didn't say that literally. Yeah, but that's what he was saying.
I don't know why when I read his comment, I initially thought he meant social media. There was a huge debacle that occurred over the last 48 hours, roughly speaking, where somebody responded to USSF's or US men's national team's Twitter handle, because he's he posted something about Bob. He posted a couple pictures of Bob, not Bob, Gregg, sorry. And somebody responded saying, Gregg's a terrible coach. Gregg's only known for having good shoes. He's a terrible coach. Paraphrasing, of course, but that's basically what he said. So USSF quote tweeted him and basically said, more or less saying here's sorry about no shoes, but here's a picture of our coach winning 70% of his games or whatever. And that started a shitstorm on Twitter. Yeah. And then literally over the last 12 to 24 hours, they deleted that post.
Yeah, because it has nothing to do with the way we played. I mean, Gregg's record is fantastic for the most part in Gold Cups and Nations League. Those were good things, but did you see the way we played? It wasn't that good. I mean, there was a game or two that were all right, but it wasn't that good. And I think that's people's complaints. And I hope then when people do say things and come at U.S. soccer or whatever, that they're really factual about what they're saying. Okay, yeah, he has a decent record in this and that, but have you seen the team play?
Well, I mean, there have been a number of people I know, Tact and 11 Yanks, all posted the win percentages that he has in the cycle versus other coaches and various other things like that. And it started a conversation between a bunch of people, especially some of the media pundits, which is great. I personally just think that if USSF was smart and they had somebody handling their Twitter handle that understood social media as a whole, they would approach it with a sense of humor. You know, all they had to say, they didn't have to say anything to the guy, but all they had to say, if they wanted to say something, was said something along the lines of, "Yeah, but those were some really nice shoes." You know,
that would have been a great answer.
Just deflect.
But instead, they went all turd on them.
Yeah,
and he went total turd. That was, sorry, Michael, cameraman, but yeah, that was a turd response. And I don't know if it was. I hope it wasn't Michael who did that, because that sounds like
I don't know if he handles that or not. I don't know who runs his.
Gregg Berhalter has won more games in the first 30 games of his career than any other manager in the United States of America. Okay, yeah, Stephen Goff, you're up. And we don't need that. We don't need it. We know what his record is. We watched him win the Gold Cup. We're not complaining about that. We're complaining the way we play, the way we function as a team. It seems off. Mm-hmm. The way Gregg's so rah, and on the behind the crest, it's almost repulsively rah, on the behind the crest stuff. I don't get it. But I mean, if you like that kind of rah, he looks more like a gridiron coach than a soccer coach. Like, you'd never see Bruce Arena do that. Bruce would get in the coach at halftime, he'd go, "All right, guys, here's what we're fucking up. Here's what we need to fix." He wouldn't. I mean, Bruce doesn't have a rah thing. He's like, "All right, team, you ready to go? All right,
great." You're pissing off Gizmo, Derek. Stop it.
We don't need that. We already got Walker Zimmerman. He does all the rah we need. I mean, do you see him out there? He's like, that's all we need. We don't need the coach to do that too. And so there's that.
Walter, I agree. We are awesome. We're also incredibly humble. Incredibly humble. I mean, I don't think we're like the most humble out there.
Speaking of which, Brett, don't you need...
Thanks for the $4.99, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Don't you need a Brickyard Battalion thing up in the back?
This isn't my office. This is my wife's office. My office is going to be shuttled down to the actual basement once it's been renovated. And I will have a whole thing set up, plus some actual lights, because this is a room that has 0 lights in it.
Oh, so you're waiting for me to move to Noblesville to bring my hammer and my tool belt and help you.
Look at that studio set up, man.
That'd be great. Then it would look like we're Jason Davis doing the best soccer show. We'd look real professional. Hey, we don't have anything against Jason Davis. I'm just kidding around.
There's a whole kerfuffle on Twitter with Jason as well, man.
Oh, and Pete?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
Pete mentioned to me, well, I can't say that. All right, so...
A lot of projection going on there. And I have nothing against Jason or his shtick, what he does. No hate whatsoever.
No, Jason came on his last show and he said, listen, people out there, all of the other guys that are doing shows right now, new shows have been around a while. I have nothing against you, and it's not personal. So there's that. We've got nothing against Jason Davis. I've never met the guy, I don't know how we avoided him, because we started about the same time he did. But we were on Big Soccer, and I don't know what the hell he's doing. Some radio show, I think it is, and then he does a podcast, I believe.
Yeah,
I do watch the YouTube stuff when it pops up on occasion. Edlin Hasich or Hasek, depending on how he wants it pronounced. Yep. $5. Thank you, sir. Does Gregg get fired if we drop to 4th and have to go through the playoff? Shout out from Fort Wayne. Oh, Hoosiers!
Hoosiers!
All right. No. We might not want to do that much. All right, so no.
When's the singing portion of this podcast? That's what I want to know.
It's coming up. I'm pretty sure pretty soon. I might drop a few bars. All right. So does Gregg get fired if we drop to the 4th? No. No. Then it's too late. They're just gonna
technically qualified. You just have to win the playoff at that point.
We got to fly to Qatar and play New Zealand. And if you can't beat New Zealand,
sorry, I was going to correct you, but you said it right. So, it only took 6 people in the comment section to correct you before you're like, okay, I'm wrong.
What was this? Did I miss something? What happened?
No, on the our show when we talked about this, you had mentioned maybe not being able to go to New Zealand. Maybe we have to find some other place that has like New Zealand players. And people were like, nah, bro, we're playing these playoff games in Qatar, and it was like every single one was like, oh, thanks for the info, and then the second one was like, second person must be right, third person, like, Derek's an idiot.
5 people chiming in saying, hey, dude, you're wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. I didn't know that it was a one-off in Qatar. I thought it was the normal, playoff system, but or home and away or whatever. But not this time, and it's probably because of Rona would be my best guess. It just makes it easier because I know New Zealand has some pretty tight and strict entry laws. So there's that. I think we're probably, do we have any other questions? Because we're going to probably shut down. That's been about
No. We still have to do the DK and Hoppy aspect.
Oh, DK and Hoppy.
We about jumped right off, man. I know we're 31 minutes into this, but let's keep going.
All right. DK and Hoppy like some videos. I think DK liked the Stephen A rant on Berhalter saying, what's this guy talking about? Or whatever he said. I don't know. He just yelled it really loud because that's what Stephen A does. And God,
dominate playoffs.
It hurt my head to listen to it, but I did. But he yells so loud. Did DK ever?
Look at that! It kind of plays in the new super chat from Spencer Daughtry. $6. Thanks, man.
Shout out for Muncie, Indiana. Any chance Christian Ramirez gets called in or Hoppy, PFOC, DK Sargent? Christian Ramirez, no chance in hell.
But he keeps scoring, man.
He does.
He keeps scoring.
Does. He did it again this week. So he just can't. I mean, they lost, but he scored.
He did his job.
It was against Celtic, too, I believe. I think he was playing CCV when he scored. I might be wrong. And then Hoppy needs to play for Mallorca. And so a little insider report I get is that he is outplaying every other forward on that team in practice, but he's not getting to play. So I can see how that would be really frustrating. So that's from an inside source. He's, I guess, seen some of the practices.
But what could possibly be the reason for that?
He can't speak Spanish, dude. Hablo no español. And that's what the coach said.
I don't know how you say ball in Spanish. This should be an easy one. Bolo. Let's just call it bolo. ¿Dónde está el bolo?
So
pelota? Right? Pelotas?
I love Hoppy. I think he's got the spark that that Sargent doesn't have. He's got the third testicular that
we don't have to worry about Sargent being up as a striker because he's no longer a striker, right?
Well, that's what Berliner says, but frankly, I think he could still pull that off. But I think, he's making a case at right wing for himself.
There we go. ¿Dónde está la pelota?
Okay, I don't know what the fuck that means.
That's where's the ball?
Okay. I've learned nothing from my years of watching Spanish speaking channels.
Fall asleep watching Spanish soap operas, hoping it all soaks in, right, Derek?
No, I mean, sometimes you can only get certain games on the Spanish speaking channels. But, you pick up words
if speaking Spanish is important to them, why did they buy him knowing he couldn't speak Spanish? Thanks God, Kong Snake.
Yeah, it's bullshit. That's not the real reason.
It's a stupid reason.
It's a bullshit reason. It makes no sense, and it's an excuse. Oh, he can't, all his teammates are laughing around him, and he doesn't understand why they're laughing. Well, so what? He's not the first non-Spanish player to play at Mallorca, the first player that can't speak Spanish. That's ridiculous. That's the stupidest comment.
Answer. Boom.
Well, you know what? Hoppy is the kind of guy that can make you envious. Because he'll talk some shit in your face.
On the field, but off the field, he's a nice guy.
Well, that's why.
Quiet.
That's what I'm told. He's very nice off the field. But you can imagine how some of those practices get with his own teammates. And you can definitely see Hoppy getting really competitive, even in practice, and ruffling some feathers, talking some shit. Yeah, I think that's possible too. So we'll see. For Derek, where's the ball? All right, that I can read. Thank you.
Happy he started to get some minutes. I agree completely.
Yes, but not last game. So I got
some minutes are better than no minutes, though.
I got some texts, and they thought, he might start, and then he didn't start. So the other reports were he's the best player in practice. You know, kind of like how Donovan was at Bayer Leverkusen when he was there. Yeah. But then when he played like crap. So you always learn the bad words first.
Yep.
It's true. I did learn shite. Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. It could get me in trouble, right? If I just say a bunch of foreign words.
Ding, this video won't be here in 2 hours.
Yeah. So if I use it all up, all the German curse words up, that will probably be bad.
Derek, I'm going to leave you to pronounce this last name for me, please.
Okay, Samuel Lassoing would be my best guess.
I guess it's not too far off what I meant.
Seems like the players have no respect for GGB, to be honest. Well, DK, I believe, took down his like, and I think you said Hoppy took down his too.
So, well, I'm sure he did take down the like. Hoppy also put out an apology on Instagram.
Okay.
You know, basically saying that, hey, I didn't realize that this is more. I'm paraphrasing here, people, but basically saying like he wasn't aware that was in the background. The thing he liked said soccer has made it in America or something along those lines, and it had to do with the college basketball game, and so he liked it. He liked it. I'm not saying he didn't like it because there's a Berhalter out sign sitting in the picture, but he ended up apologizing for it, but then took it down literally minutes later. Somebody didn't catch it. They talked about it on Twitter, like, hey, he apologized, and then you go and you couldn't find it because he deleted it.
Did he unlike the thing he liked?
I'm not on Instagram. I don't fucking know.
Oh, I'm not on Instagram either.
I did create an Instagram account just so I can go and see the apology, but I found out it was deleted. So yeah. So
well,
he probably got somebody coming up and said, "Bro, just let this go. Talk to Berhalter behind the scenes. Don't make it public."
So this was either a call for Brian McBride or one of the assistant coaches, probably, who said, "Hey, dude, do you realize that you did this?" And he's like, yeah.
Whoops.
And they're like, "Well, you need to undo it." And he's like, okay. They're like, "Do you ever want to play on the national team again?" Can I go back to my Sasha Kljestan story? When I wrote an article?
It's fair game now. He can't get banned from it anymore.
So I wrote an article many eons ago when Sasha was playing for Anderlecht in Belgium, and it was with his dad, and I was just sort of recounting Sasha's days at Chivas with Preki.
USA.
And he hates Preki. His dad hates Preki. He said the worst things about Preki. In fact, I had to blank out much of what he said. Like use the ... parts. I even called him afterwards and said, "It's about to go up. Are you sure you want to put this up? Because it's quoting you, and here are the quotes I use." He's like, "Yeah, go ahead and do it." I put it up. 8 hours later, got a call from Preki's dad saying, "You got to take it down." And I said, "Well, I told you. I told you. I was putting it up." And he's like, "Yeah, I know.
You want this up? Yeah.
But I just got some phone calls from you know who. And if you don't take that down," because Preki had just started helping out the U.S. He was now in the U.S. soccer system after getting fired from his second job. And they said, "You got to take it down or your son will never play for the U.S. men's national team again." I took it down.
Yeah.
What am I going to do,
Absolutely.
Dude?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hurt the guy, so I took it down. It had like 1,000 views at that time and on Big Soccer. I mean, it would have been a lot bigger than that.
We had a lot of people asking about that. Hey, what happened to the article? What happened to the article?
It's gone.
No comment.
I don't know where it is. I mean, they say the internet's forever, but that's been since like 2012.
Yeah.
Now the internet's forever. Back then, people weren't like screen capturing stuff the way they
Archiving
do
or anything
now.
like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's even possible to find it.
Derek,
And,
you watch McKennie's game today?
I did not get to watch it because as the game was ending, I was prepping for our show with Jake.
Pretty much. Yeah, I literally just got home, had like 40 minutes to get ready for the show and / get the kids food and all that shit.
Yeah,
So I didn't get to watch it. I plan to go back and rewatch it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But it turns, I'm guessing this is accurate, but it appears that he must have had a decent game.
Well, he played the full 90 again, right? Yeah. He didn't have a goal. Somebody's saying he has a goal, 8.89. Oh, expected goals. Okay. Expected goals are garbage. So don't
It's a Berhalter special. What are you talking about?
We don't do XG here. All we care about's the end. But anyhow, I mean, in seriousness, McKennie's our hottest player right now. So
absolutely. Yep.
I expect he played well again. He started again. He's a favorite of the managers. That's going to continue.
He's not going anywhere. I mean, we talked about at the beginning of the season how Licker was like, yeah, he's you know, if we get an offer, he's gone. Not in so many words, of course. But I mean, once he got back into proper shape, man, he's been killing it for you, Vic. Killing it.
And to go
despite
back,
the fact of what pundits say about him, but he's killing it.
Screw the pundits. And go back to Hoppy real quick.
It's like he hit the woodwork.
As far as Hoppy goes, I do think that Hoppy needs to be careful.
Get off social media. Fuck that shit. That's going to fuck you up.
We've told members of his entourage that too. Needs to be careful because it's not going to take much. This is a really sensitive person. Gregg Berhalter is a very sensitive person. Just like when the guy said that he thought Gregg had called the last game a must-win game. Gregg's like, I never said that. I never said it was a must-win game. Where'd you get that from? And then the player right after comes out, De La Torre, and says, that was a must-win game. And that's real. De La Torre gave it to us straight.
Yeah.
Gregg gave us garble Gregg. Like, not a real answer. So that's Gregg's way. He doesn't answer questions for real. That's not his thing. It's not his bag. He'll give you a paragraph, but the paragraph will mean absolutely nothing. Unless he says something stupid, like we dominated, or, you know, Miazga kicked my dog, or whatever he says. Then those are him just not being able to come up with the garble that he usually comes up with. We never had a manager. I mean, Jurgen Klinsmann, was not great at this either. I mean, he never took the blame for anything. It was always something else. At least Bradley on occasion would go, yeah, we need to do better. Probably wasn't the best setup for the game. We'll get it right next time. Same thing with Arena. But the last two managers, well, at least the last more full-time ones. So, and that's Jurgen. And Jurgen, I understand. He's German. I mean, Berhalter's German too, I guess. But he wasn't born there. Wasn't raised a German. I mean, Germans don't.
I'm sure down his lineage there absolutely is German there. But
listen, I have a whole German family back in Germany. But my grandfather was the most stubborn man I ever knew. He would never admit to being wrong about anything, ever. And it's a very German trait. It is true. So, or it used to be, old school wise. My mom's kind of the same way. She's really stubborn. So I get Klinsmann. I get his sort of lack of rah-rah too, because first of all, that's really not the role of a manager to be the rah-rah guy. So Jurgen wouldn't really do it. He was a kind of clap and bark, maybe, would be as good as it got. But he wasn't a rah-rah guy. All right. Do we have any other questions?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Well, keep popping them up, or I'm just going to keep talking until we all pass out. It really did. Miazga really kick Gregg's dog?
Yes, he did. No,
he did
I'm sorry.
not.
I'm sorry. There was
We don't need the lawsuit.
There was an alleged story, but Miazga actually has video evidence that it was legit that kicked Berhalter's dog.
Well, that
allegedly.
That wasn't until later, and I thought it was a slap, not a kick. But anyhow, no, of course that's not really true. But I'm sorry that it's gotten around as much. Maybe I'm not sorry that it's gotten around as much as it has. But you see it on Jason Davis's show, and you're like, that got to him. Awesome, that's great. I'm glad he's talking about Miazga kicking Berhalter's dog. I can't believe he's doing it.
It makes the rounds because we have lovely people who listen to our show.
Yes,
and they spread the gospel, if you will. I'm on Twitter and I see everybody tagging everybody under the sun. Hey, like they've been tagging Wall whenever we on Bill Archer's first segment where we said Wall was wrong. And they're like, oh, Wall, were you wrong? I'm just like, oh God.
Oh no, they forwarded it to Grant.
Yeah.
Guess he won't be coming on after all. So just so you know, folks, we had Grant on our show in the old days, 7-8 years ago, and I mean he's a nice enough guy. I get the frustration from people, and yes, he was wrong about the access thing. And what the hell is running on the bottom of the screen?
Oh, this is something I created when we first started on StreamYards. I go, tight shirt prepares for climate change disaster, and then in the running thing here goes. In a stunning turn of events, tight shirt opts to wear a flotation device under his sports coat during a U.S. men's national team versus Mexico game. Go back and rewatch the game. It looks like he's got something under to keep warm, which is the whole point of the joke. Some fans are irate at a political statement during a qualifier.
Oh, okay. You had to bring politics onto the show. Thank you, Brett.
Well, I wasn't the one that made it political. Tight shirt did.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that wore the flotation device, concerned about climate change.
And for anybody not in the know, tight shirt is Twellman. We called him tight shirt Twellman 10 years ago, so it kind of stuck.
Trendsetters.
Brett came up with it. I think I came up with Woolly Mammoth for Beckerman. So,
absolutely did, yes.
And that kind of stuck for a while too, but it's 10 years later, so maybe it kind of went away at this point. So any more questions, or are we finally
There's always stuff. I mean, we can always pull up the chat.
Okay, well, let's blast through these. Bob Kraft, I feel like CCV doesn't get into the next squad. We should be worried about any new players being brought into the team for the World Cup. We should be worried about any new players. Being brought into the team for the period for the World Cup. Okay, well, I think CCV deserves a look instead of Mark McKenzie. CCV plays. He plays on the best team in Scotland. He's been rated as one of the best center backs in Scotland. Mm-hmm. He's been solid. McKenzie didn't play recently with Genk. Hasn't been playing regularly. He gets a game, and then he rides Pine for 2 games. And I'm not sure I've been all that impressed about what McKenzie's shown us when he's got to play. So I'm willing to give CCV a look.
McKenzie just doesn't really play for us, but he does get called in. So why not give somebody else a chance to start integrating with with the national team?
Yeah, I mean, CCV's at least he's playing. I mean, he's playing every game. Mm-hmm. He's an all-star player in the Scottish Premier League. And sure. It's not the greatest league in the world. I get it. But it's still a pretty good one. God, did I just sound like Alexi Lawless when I said that? Holy Christ.
Next, you're going to say Zimmerman's our number 1 defender, which
he is.
Whatever.
Sorry.
He was right. All right, so Chuck said, you guys think Ledesma and Mendez make the roster soon, or have they fallen back way back?
Yeah. Let me see. I just did some notes on.
I mean, while you're pulling that up.
Okay, no, I've got it. It's Ledesma, first of all. But go ahead.
What about it? Okay, you got notes about Ledesma? Okay. Well, yeah. Mendez is getting playing time in Portugal. I mean, at this point, they're the 4th highest FIFA ranked
league.
The fourth highest league in
UEFA.
UEFA, sorry, not FIFA.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that his team is like borderline relegation based, but he's getting playing time in a top tier league.
Yeah, Zala.
So yeah. So, I mean, it wouldn't be out of the question if Mendez gets a call up at some point, maybe come Nations League. Some of the friendlies we got probably leading into the World Cup itself, assuming we qualify. So it's not out of the question. I think Ledesma needs he's getting some he's getting some games with the second team for
yes,
Ajax,
PSV,
right? PSV,
no,
okay.
PSV 2.
So he's getting playing time there. That's good.
But
Hopefully he starts getting back up into the first team, though.
Honestly, Dante Sealy plays better than he does. He had a better game last game for PSV 2.
Let's bring him in, too.
So, if you're going to bring Ledesma into the conversation, then you're going to probably have to bring Sealy into the conversation, too. And then you have to ask yourself, where's Gregg going to put Ledesma? He's probably not going to play him at midfield. More than likely, he's going to have to play out wide. So, I mean, that's a packed group of people there. You got Aronson, Pulisic, Reyna, Weah, Morris, and I could go on. Conrad. I mean, it's getting deep there. So it's going to be... Yeah, he's all but forgotten at this between. So yeah, we pronounced that right. So no, they just lost to PSV 2. Just lost to Ajax 2 on Monday, I believe it was. So and Ledesma came out in the 70th. I mean, it's good to see him healthy. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
but he's got a long way to go.
Let's let him get some more first team minutes before we concern ourselves.
He might be more of a 2026 guy, honestly.
The big question here, though, I mean, he has the opportunity of playing for Mexico, and I'm not saying Mexico's going to just cap him for capping's sake, but it's the Gomez. Why am I spacing his first name?
Jonathan.
Yeah, it's Jonathan Gomez question all over again. Do we start bringing him into the? Mind you, I guess prior to his injury, Ledesma was brought in to a friendly window in Europe. So I mean, he was brought in prior to the injury, so he's in the mix. And I'm not saying that he's going to make the jump by any means. I mean, I don't see any evidence of proving that. But
we don't know. I mean, it's a story.
Let's let him get some first team minutes before we talk about the national team.
It's a story that's writing itself as we speak. So I mean, we got to wait and see. We don't know. As youth players, they look very promising. But then look at Sebastian Soto. He's a shadow of his former self. He doesn't even play for Porto 2. He rides Pine for Porto 2. For Porto 2! Not Porto. Porto 2. And he's got 4 other forwards in front of him playing on that roster on a regular basis, and they're almost all younger than him. So listen, guys can look great in their youth, but they got to get lucky and not have injuries. They got to have the right attitudes, the right work rate, and the right work effort, or it doesn't work out. I mean, it's happened to a lot of our kids over the years. It just doesn't work out unless that's the case. Jose Lopez, thank you for $4.99. Garrison Whiskey is my daily drinker. What you guys like to drink? Just a question out of curiosity. I'll let you start, Brett.
What don't I drink? For whatever reason, since pulling this up, I absolutely spaced the bourbon that I'm drinking, and it's killing me. And it's like that way, just a little bit, but I cannot for the life of me tell you what that is, what bourbon I drink. I'll post it on Twitter later. Right. But I mean, I typically, when it comes to straight stuff, I'll try to drink some stuff that's pretty mid-range. I don't go high because I don't have the money to go high. And I don't drink straight cheap shit. I will mix cheap shit. So when it comes to like mixing vodka with something like that, I don't drink straight vodka usually. Depends how drunk I am, I guess. But I'll drink kamchatka with insert any mixer possible because you can only mask that disgusting flavor so much. But I'll drink cheap shit, but I also drink a lot of the Kirkland stuff because the Kirkland stuff's decent and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, if I have my preference, I'll drink Belgian ales until the world blows up.
Oh, I'm a big beer guy too. Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking liquor when we talked about this. But yeah,
so
I'll do local, especially IPAs.
I like German and Belgian beers, but Belgian ales are my favorite. Belgian beers are my favorite. So I'm a big Pirat guy. Piraat. Chimay. I like all three Chimays, or four if there's four. Le Fin de Mont, if you're looking for something more North American, is a Belgian style ale that is fantastic. And there's plenty of others. Three Philosophers is, holy crap, it is one of the best beers out there right now. And I mean, it's been out there for like 7 years or whatever, but well worth it if you've never had Three Philosophers. Look it up. Belgian beer, Three Philosophers. I think they're out of New York and make a great beer.
Yep.
And then vodka is pretty much what I drink because whiskey makes me mean. And so does scotch. I don't like scotch anyhow. And vodka is just something you can sip along with some orange juice or some
Irish
ginger
and
ale.
Scottish, so I'll drink just about everything.
Yeah, I'm German, so you think
I got half a liver. I can take it.
I guess some of my people are Manx. You know, I did that 23andMe thing. Manx, they're from the island of Manx. Isn't that kind
They're
of...
also like 1% Neanderthal?
Yes, less than 1% Neanderthal. Thank you. Anyhow, Manx, the Isle of Manx is where the crazy Manx, the TT race is, where like 7 people die every year on their motorcycles. All right. Love the show. Oh, Brian C., thank you, my man, for the $4.99. Love the show, guys. Really looking forward to how big all of the U.S. men's national team alternative media will get by World Cup time. Hope Gio Caccini gets a look again. Hey, man, thank you, too. We're excited about the alternative media. It's certainly making some other people pretty nervous, obviously.
I want to say that might be a troll against you, Derek.
What?
You put Gio Caccini, and it's just Gio Accini.
It is Gio Accini.
That C is not. I think that's a troll.
He got me too, didn't he?
You said it. You said it without a problem. Yeah, I absolutely think he got you there, man.
Takes us back to ice, swallow, come. Yes.
Oh, that's quality. Thank you, Ryan. If you didn't mean it, thank you anyways.
Yeah, if that was a Pete account, you got me back.
Oh,
all right. Even though we did not send that ice swallow come thing. We did not. We were not the ones who posted that. But I did make fun of you for it. So
it was too good. Too good.
What was the second part of the question? We just skipped it.
No, second part was Gioccini.
Nah, he's probably not going to get much of a
alternative. All U.S. alternative media. We haven't really talked about that, I guess. He's hoping. He's excited about seeing where all of us can get to come World Cup. How big we can be, and that's up to you guys. Spread the love, share our content, comment, get that algorithm, fuck it over.
And we're doing our thing too, guys. I mean, we're sticking together. If you haven't noticed. We had Jimmy Conrad on our show, and we talked about alternative media and said, hey, Jimmy, these guys are good guys. You need to give them a chance. And I think we've seen Winaldo cross over, although he is certainly not a part of anybody's clique at US Soccer for sure. And then, Herc, I think, has been on Tack's show. And yeah, we're all sticking together. When I say all, that's really Yank Report, 11 Yanks, Tactical Manager, and FIFA America, and us. We're have a little, we stick together. We keep each other informed. Yeah. So,
and every month, somebody new's coming in, and they're developing their own thing, which is great. The best thing we can advise all new podcasters is to reach out a network. So reaching out to everybody, get on other people's shows, get on your own, have them come onto your show, and then just do what you love doing. Talk.
I'm going to be on a German time zone show here soon with the Schnitzel brothers.
It's German time though?
Yes.
I thought they're US based.
Maybe they are.
I know there's a
one
of them is a Red Bull fan. I think the other one's a New York City FC.
You're right. Okay, I was worried about that.
They're German folk.
Yeah. Oh man, I love me some Schnitzels. And I like the Schnitzel brothers show. I think they're good guys. They're not getting a whole lot of views right now because they're pretty brand new, but I like their show a lot. I don't know how brand new they are.
And they're also they do cover U.S. players, especially in Bundesliga, but they cover the Bundesliga more so than anything. So I mean, it's a tough market, I guess, to isolate your not isolate your content. Let me rephrase that. That's a terrible way of wording it, but focus heavy on something that you know a lot of, which is the Bundesliga. You're really touching base on a select audience, I guess. But then they bring the U.S. players there, so that should bring in the U.S. populace as well. I just think they need to get some broadcast out there, some people talking about it.
I think Sebastian sent me a message, or what was his name? Shit, forgot it right now. Anyhow, my apologies. That he's like, we're going to cover the week in the Bundesliga. And I'm like, oh, fuck. The only teams I watch are the teams with American players on it. So I don't know if I'm going to be that much help on the games where there are no Americans playing in them, because I don't watch those games. The only team I watch on a regular basis, regardless, is Dortmund. So if there were no Americans on Dortmund, I would still probably watch Dortmund. And even as much as my grandfather tried to make me a Bayern fan, it just didn't. It
never saw it out, Derek. I understand.
It didn't take. It didn't take. I am an underdog guy. I like underdogs. I don't like the king of the hill. That's why I watched Chelsea, but boy, before Pulisic got there, I despised Chelsea. So, hey, Chelsea fans, don't come at me. It's okay. I despise a lot of teams. I despise Real Madrid. Anyhow, I probably shouldn't do that, because then all these fans are going to come after me and say, why do you hate my team?
Fuck you and fuck you and fuck you.
I'm an underdog guy. That's why I hate your team. It's part of my soul. Querol family, $4.99. Thank you. The whole family pitched in. That's amazing. Just dropping in to support. Love the content, fellas. Awesome. Hey, man. Thank you. Or
appreciate
whole family.
It, man. Absolutely. Yeah, every single one of them.
Awesome.
Great
support. Is that about it? Nope. Shit. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
$10 from Zach. Hey,
we'll keep it going all night, guys.
Thanks a lot. We're making Brett rich. All right, because he's gonna leave tomorrow on a jet plane. He's gonna empty the account and just leave with the whole family.
Hi, Felicia.
Yep. If you were the U.S. men's national team manager, would you stick with the 4-3-3, or is there another formation that fits our player pool better? Boy, that's a perfect question, because we just talked about on that.
We
with
just
Jake.
talked about it. Yeah.
I'll let you start, Mr. Empty Bucket.
Yep. No, you just beat me to the point there. Yeah. No, absolutely.
No, everybody knows you're going to say empty bucket.
I was about to say, if you guys listen to our content, I say empty bucket almost daily. Quite frankly, I think it works for our player pool. 4-2-2-2-2, 4-2-2-2. That's one too many twos. And we talked about it a little more in depth in Jake's show. Go watch that. He'll probably have it up tomorrow, I'm guessing, or I'm not sure when he'll get it out. But we just did it a few hours back. But with an Adams and McKennie sitting in the back of the bucket, you have somebody like a Pulisic and Reyna in front of them playing the Donovan Dempsey role, and then do like a Weah and Pepe up top, which plays the Davies Altidore role. I think that would work well. Plus, you open up the lanes for Dest and Jedi to run up and down, and you have two box-to-box midfielders that will cover back if need be.
Yeah.
So I think it plays to our pool better than the 4-3-3.
And you just got him. All you got to do is make sure on any set pieces or corner kicks that McKennie's in the box.
Absolutely.
Because obviously, if he's playing that back of the empty bucket, he's not going to be moving forward quite as much as he would normally.
Well, I mean, even looking at how Bob Bradley played with this center mid duo between Bradley and insert any other player here, whether it was God, what the fuck's his name, Clark or Adu, or even Torres. Torres is a bit different. That kind of wonked it out a little bit because, I mean, McKennie wanted to get up and down, and then you had Torres who kind of wanted to do the same thing. But nobody played that dominant defensive role. Whereas when you had Adu or you had Clark, Bradley was pushing up further up the field, whereas they sat back a little more, and they kind of countered from time to time. But that's the thing with McKennie and with Adams. Adams is still going to sit back and play the more distributing, 6 role that he normally does. But that still allows McKennie to get up into the attack. So,
right,
I think it'll work.
I think it would work. But it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
We all know that. I mean, listen, I came up with some 4-2-3-1 formations as two that would look great because we could get all of our best attacking players on the pitch at the same time, including Pulisic, Reyna, Weah, and Pepe, or whoever plays center forward. We could get all of them on the field. But right now, the way we're set up, you're only going to get Reyna, or Pulisic or Weah and Pulisic. You're not going to get Reyna. Somebody's got to go because Reyna's not playing center midfield for Gregg unless Gregg has an aneurysm and his brain self-implodes and all of a sudden he's completely confused about where he is and what he's doing. But that's not going to happen because that's not his thing. He's a 4-3-3 guy. He thinks he's the mini Guardiola. So there you go. The empty book. Burke is the dumbest shite I've heard since Gregg Berhalter was announced as head coach.
Thanks, Brian.
Well, that's awesome.
It worked for us in 2010. Worked for our player pool. We had Donovan and Dempsey, and then we had, before the accident, we had Davies and Altidore up top with Bradley, and again, insert any player there in the midfield with them. It worked for our player pool, and I think it would work again.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost no need to even answer the last question except for the fact that we're being nice because it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, yeah.
And
it's content. And, despite the fact that some people will say that, with Berhalter having played in Germany and coached all around the world, and now he's a national team coach, clearly he must know more about soccer than you.
Yeah, well, he must.
Who cares?
Brian thinks so.
Doesn't mean you're right or wrong. No, I want to say Brian's either joking around or he's just not a big fan of Bob Bradley bucket.
Or the bucket.
So either way, that's your prerogative. That's cool.
There are different ways to play the bucket too.
Yeah, not only that, but there are other formations that would work too. I just bring up the bucket because I liked how the bucket worked for us.
Diamond 4, sure. All kinds of different ways to play, but it's just not going to happen. So there we go.
Go for it, Derek.
Ed Biss the sickest. Ed Biss the sickest.
Well done. That was a really
Ed Biss the sickest, maybe? Ed Biss? I don't know what country he's from, so I don't know.
I think it's Biss kind of rhymes with sick, but it says Ed Biss the sickest.
Ed Biss the sickest?
I think it's kind of a rhyme thing.
Because Ed Biss, I don't know I've never heard that first name before. So I don't know how to pronounce that. Which minnow is, and he's probably from the United States. I've never seen that name in the United States before, so I assumed he was from somewhere else.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. Ed B is the sickest. Ed B is the sickest.
Oh, okay.
Well done. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've seen him post before, and I've always thought, who's this Ed Biss guy? That's a really neat name.
Yep.
Ed,
yeah,
is that
a
French?
couple people correcting us here. Yeah, there's 3 now.
Yeah. Ed Biss.
I want to put it back out there because I put it all the time. I'm always going to mispronounce names. That's why I threw this to Derek. I'm like, go for it, Derek. Have fun.
I thought maybe that was a French name that I had never heard before. Ed B.
Yep. Now we know. We won't get it wrong next time.
Which minnow is most likely to qualify for a future World Cup in CONCACAF? Which minnow? Wow. I don't think there are going to be any minnows.
Well,
wait. We're going to expand to 40. We're going to expand to 40.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. In CONCACAF, I'm going to chuck it up to El Salvador.
If I had to pick one, I'd pick El Salvador.
Yeah.
Unless Honduras gets its shit together.
Do you consider Jamaica minnow in that sense?
They shouldn't be, but they've played horribly. So, they've got a fantastic potential player pool.
Biggest minnow to make a World Cup is going to be Canada.
Oh, shebang.
No, sorry, Jake. I took your quote. I didn't even notice it. They said Canada. Sorry, Jake beat me to
it. straight to the man marbles on that one.
Oh, man.
The Canadian Mountie man marbles. No, I don't think Canada's really going to be considered a minnow anymore in CONCACAF. I think
those 33rd right now in FIFA ranking.
I think those days are behind them. They've got Eustachio.
The current crew. Yeah, the current crew. And if they keep it up in the development status, I don't think they're going to be minnows ever again.
No, you got Davies, Eustachio.
They got such a high infrastructure. Canada compared to the rest, a good healthy chunk of CONCACAF.
They got Laramie.
They should.
They got David. Those guys are all pretty, relatively young. They're going to be around a while, so they should be fine. I worry about their back 4. The guy that plays in Portugal.
As an answer to you, Derek.
He's old. Too bad all the new slots will go to Europe. That
way Italy and Portugal can make it, right?
Actually, that's funny, but no, they won't. We're going to actually have to see teams play Tahiti in the World Cup. Honestly, That's what's going to happen.
Bill was saying they're all going to go to Asia and Africa.
Asia, Africa, and Oceania will get one more, and that'll be Tahiti. So there'll be New Zealand and Tahiti will lose every game 10-8, nothing. And it'll be horrible, but, there you go.
Thanks, Brian. Love the show. Keep it up.
Okay, even after you just kicked Brett in the balls?
That's all right. I'll consider it a love tap.
All right. Is there such a thing?
Man.
Okay, so
here you go, Derek.
They
keep posting stuff. I can't stop.
Jesus Christ! All right, Karen Johnson. Hey, Karen. Can't wait to see the Solomon Islands versus St. Vincent in the next World Cup.
Every 2 years. Every 2 years now.
It won't get that bad. Probably. That's when they expand it to 200. Then it gets that bad.
Everybody gets in.
Yeah, but I don't think those two teams are going to make it. But it's funny shit. So is that it? Are we finally done?
Yeah, I think we're all caught up, guys.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to do a second show at this point. Maybe. Oh yeah, it's only 9:40.
No, we got to do it. We got to do a second show because we have to have something else besides this.
Yeah, we got to bang out a second show, folks. So we got to hop to that while we're at least still conscious. And but we want to we appreciate all of you that send in questions and join us for this very first live show, which could have gone horribly wrong. I don't know. I mean, Brett's kid could have come in and hit him over the head with a pillow. My dog could have taken a piss on my face since he's on the bed with me. So, but that didn't happen.
Derek. Calm down.
So we're all good. No, my dog doesn't do that anymore. He wouldn't do that. He's not into those kind of sports. So,
wait till you're sleeping.
Keep supporting us. Like, subscribe, share it with your grandma, as always. And we'll be back. The next time we'll actually have a real intro to the show. Until the next time on Straight Red Card, thank you for showing up for the first live thing.